And we are live. It's the Dave K Show, broadcasting off the beautiful banks of Foss River in beautiful historic Point Capee Parish, Louisiana. And we are in the beautiful historic Julian Partridge Arts and Museum Center here in New Roads. And I just want to welcome everybody to our podcast. This is podcast number 14 of the Dave K Show. And we have two great guests on. We got a recurring guest from yesterday, Mr. Chuck Bush, and we have Mr. Jeffery Horner from VRS Media Group.
Hey.
Both legends in the Baton Rouge area in video production and film and media, and just so much to talk about we have. But before we go into our interesting discussion today, we got a whole lot to talk about, a lot to unpack, a lot to discuss. I want to give a shout out to one of our cross-platform promoters that we're doing, PointCapeeReporter.com. We like to give some shout outs to PointCapeeReporter.com. Don't forget to check out Point Capee's online news and information hub, PointCapeeReporter.com, which features links to area media articles about Point Capee. Dial them up on the web at PointCapeeReporter.com. And what you do is you'll see this episode as well as other episodes on the front page of PointCapeeReporter.com, and the right-hand banner side, just click on the Dave K Show link right there, and you can watch all our shows, and including this one right here. So without further ado, let's get into our broadcast today. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. What a lovely trip down to what a lovely, lovely city you guys have.
Yes, well, you know, I'm president of tourism in Point Capee, and I'm a lot of things, but like president of tourism, like I have room for all this other stuff in my life. But I enjoy promoting Point Capee Parish. Our beautiful resources, Foss River out here, and just the beautiful area that we live in. The people are really nice. We need some more restaurants. We're working on that. We got a new mayor, but everything else is really cool.
I'll open a Burger King.
Oh no, well, we're getting a Taco Bell, believe it or not.
Oh,
hey, come on.
Taco smell. There you
Right,
go.
exactly.
that's right.
And I always joke. I just pray it's not taco hell, because all of our fast food restaurants have notorious reputations over here. So we're working on changing the workforce out here. But anyway.
Okay.
That's it. So, welcome to the show, guys. We got a lot to talk about. So, Chuck, you were on yesterday. We talked about a lot of different things that you were involved in.
Boy.
Yesterday with Lisa Calhoun.
Exhaustive. Yes.
Yes, that was great.
Yeah,
And
she's funny.
Yes, she really
Talented
is.
gal.
Y'all are doing some great stuff with your publishing.
Thank you.
Yes, with your publishing organization, your business, you're doing a really good job. And Jeff, of course, you're kind of tagging on to that too, right?
Yes.
We're gonna get into a lot of things. We're gonna go back into the '90s, maybe late '80s, early '90s. You know, on that end. But first of all, I know
I had hair in the 90s, y'all.
Might have to put a picture of Chuck when he had hair like
Don't
this
you
big.
dare.
is your hair real? Mine's real.
Oh,
Is your-
mine's
okay.
real. Mine's real, man. Mine's still real. Hopefully
Right.
it'll be, what does it say? Turn gray but not loose.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly, right. That's why I keep mine short. You know,
Yeah.
because it's gray. So
But Chuck wears his well.
Right.
He wears his
I wear
well.
mine very short.
Yeah, he wears his very short.
Stubble. They call it stubble. It's not a
Right.
shag, it's a stubble.
right. No towel in the morning to dry off for sure. So you were involved in a project with Chuck, and as far as publishing goes, you have a book coming out. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your book coming out?
Yeah, I've got a book. It's called Fruitful Life of Significance. And I had a brother of mine that prayed for his family every day for 50 years, and he still is, and he prayed 7 words over them. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, have you ever wrote a book on this, on what it did and how it affected your family? And he said, no. I said, can I take it? He said, yeah. So I added 2 more words. So I have 9 words that is going to change your life and the life that you're praying for.
Wow.
And that's why it's a fruitful life of
Yeah,
significance,
that's
because when you
awesome.
do that, and I've been doing it for a while, that you see a difference in your life and their life. And what I did is I kind of brought the memoir with it, kind of my life, where I was at before, as growing up with a kid and all my life, and with each chapter kind of write that out too.
That's amazing. And the thing is like we're all getting older. That's everybody gets older. So, but as you get older, you live life, you live experiences, and that later on in your life, you can talk about all these things in your past. And so you live the experiences for the new generation up and coming to help other people. And that's really cool. And it's like, I wouldn't see you yourself as an author when you were 21 years old.
Right.
Because you just hadn't lived the experiences in life, right? Right, Chuck?
I couldn't see much at 21. It's kind of a fog.
Right. Yeah. You're still living life. You're experiencing stuff. You're learning things. So
Yeah.
now we take all those experiences and we can pack them together in a book. And they're a lot of help for other people for sure.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully.
Yes, they
Hopefully.
will be for sure. I'll be one of the first to get it. How can we get
Right.
the book when it comes out?
I'm self-publishing, and what it's going to be is anywhere, Amazon, ebook, Kindle, and also probably I'm hoping to get to Barnes & Noble and ChristianBook.com.
Right. So hardcover and online also. So
Both.
of course you just search for it on Amazon. You'll find it. That
Should
sounds
be,
great.
I guess. Chuck, I guess that's the
Yeah,
way.
absolutely. Well, we'll set up certain marketing aspects that people be able to find it. You know, that's the thing we talked about yesterday is building that market before you get out there. I know Jeffrey's
Right.
been working hard
Yeah.
building his market in Facebook, so you know there'll be announcements and things. I'm sure he's got it
Right.
well underhand, and of course he went to the Patreon.
That's right.
Right. the
BCK
Patreon.
Publishing Podcast, self-publishing
Yes,
podcast.
that's right.
That's
So
correct.
and despite going there, he's still putting his
Still
book
doing
out.
it. It's still happening.
Right.
Yeah.
So tell me, when did you get the idea to do this? But well, you kind of briefly mentioned it, but what was the process like in writing this book? Was it like a daunting process? Was it writer's block involved? I mean, did it just flow out of you?
That's what's exciting is that it never did. I never had a writer's block. Anytime I would sit down, I would write 500 to 1,000 words.
Wow.
Anytime I would sit down. And I talked to Chuck about that. I said, do you ever have this problem? When I sit down, it's more getting the time to sit down. But on this
Right.
book, so far, I have never, so far, and I'm done. I've got it to the editor now. I never had writer's block one time.
That's incredible. See, to me, that'd be the problem, finding the time to write a book, because I do have a lot of ideas in my mind to maybe one day write a book, but it's like, golly, I got to just get myself organized.
Well, you just have to do it. You just have to say, okay, I've got 3 hours right here. Leave me alone. Tell everybody, leave me alone. Put your phone away. Just stop. And just do it. And just do it. And that's what I did. I didn't like a lot of, and Chuck's probably one of them, is disciplined that, okay, I'm going to do this 2 hours a day, every other day, this. And that's what all the writers that I've studied, the way they did and the way they worked their books.
Right.
I wasn't like that. I had to just carve out pieces.
Right.
And just sit there and do it. And every time I'd come up, it'd be just the right time.
That is amazing. That's great. So the type of book you're writing, there are different formats, of course. We talk about formats. You have fiction, nonfiction. There are cooking books. You know, there are inspirational books and stuff like that. So yours, would you consider more of an inspirational type book, or is it a storytelling book?
I call it
Or-
a faith-based book.
Okay.
Faith-based, and being able to just inspire, hopefully.
Right. And that's exactly what it will do for sure. I'm hoping it's going to have a really, really good reception when it comes out. I think it will. Marketing is the name of the game, right? 20% writing, 80% marketing.
Absolutely. You can write the best book in the world. If nobody knows about it,
Yes.
you've done nothing.
Right.
And, you know, as like Jeffrey said, and you talked about too, it's about impact. If you don't have an audience, who you impact then? Nobody. You end
Right.
up with a bunch of very, very expensive paperweights.
Yes.
So you got to get out there.
Right. Yeah. Feed. Feed the fireplace for Christmas time. Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's too easy with technology, David, right? I mean, look at you. Technology has allowed you to do this and do it very well, may I say. And the same thing holds true for writers and really anybody looking to put something out in some sort of a platform. You know, my friend J.D. Perry told me once, he said, Chuck, there's 1 million people out there who want something. You know, a book about a guy who's got brain damage from a stroke and has a hard time getting on with his life. There's 1 million people out there who want to read that. Because, I mean, there's 300 million people just here in America, right? Not to mention nearly 8 billion people in the world. There's bound to be 1 million people out there that want that.
Mm-hmm.
Your job as a marketer is find those people.
Right.
And when you find those people, build a home and serve them, get it to them, because the need is there.
Yes, makes sense.
Yeah.
And that has to do with writing books, writing movies.
Yes.
Any kind of thing where you got a niche that you're trying
In
to.
this day and age, it's too easy. I mean, you have crowdfunding platforms that help you fund the movie. You have trycelery.com, which is a pre-sales site for crowdfunding, where if you got a book that you're putting out, you go on Try Celery, put the cover on there, discount it for people to get it in a pre-order. All right. So, I mean, there's so many easy ways to get out there and build your audience, build funding through your audience.
Right.
And-
There's
but it
no
also-
excuse.
There is zero excuse except I didn't feel like doing it today.
Right. Yeah. Procrastination, putting it off.
Yes,
right.
exactly.
Laziness,
Right.
procrastination.
That's amazing. So that's your latest and greatest thing you're coming out with now. That's the highlight of everything going on right now with you.
One part.
yeah.
That's not. That's just a piece.
Right.
I have a lot of different pieces.
Yes, I know
You
you're
know?
very, very busy, and you got your hands on a lot of different things. Okay, Jeff Horner, I want to go back to the early days. What in the world got you interested in video production, and what did you do before you got into video production?
Wow. Yeah. I worked for a company. I don't know if y'all remember this.
Chuck's smiling.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember this. I know Chuck.
I know the story.
Yeah. Story. I don't know if you remember New Generation.
Oh yeah,
The Shapes
Superstore.
over there, Superstore. I was
New
an area
Gen.
manager for them.
Really?
Yeah, I was an area manager. I had.
Yeah, remember the guys on the buildings throwing TVs off? and-
Oh yeah, that was the Shapes.
Right.
Yeah, that was the Shapes. I was there, and one of my departments was video. So in 1986, I picked up a video, well, actually 85, but I started my company in 86. I picked up a video camera and shot my first wedding for $75.
Wow.
And I was hooked. I was hooked.
Right.
And I just.
So hang on a second. What equipment was you using to shoot that
I had a
wedding?
big VHS camera, the big VHS
Right.
heavy duty camera. That's what I had. That was my first.
And how
camera.
did you edit that thing? Come on now.
Oh, it was just.
You didn't really.
You
It was in
didn't.
camera editing.
Yeah, that's right. It was in camera editing at that time. Yes, I did.
Wow.
I hadn't moved up till a few years later to do some
Right.
2 VHS.
And really, this is before wedding videography's time.
Yes.
I mean, so who had their weddings filmed back in '86? Really,
Right. Right. There wasn't many.
Right.
I was single back in '86. And thanks for the reminder.
So who filmed your wedding?
Right? Yeah. I had Moses and a couple people. No, that's not
Right.
true.
Right.
Actually, funny enough, we got married at First Baptist, and they have a professional video set up there. I had a 3-camera shoot of on
yes,
beta,
indeed.
buddy.
Yes,
Not
indeed.
none of this Beta Max stuff. We're talking about the good stuff. So-
Right. Wow.
And you could see the beginning of my male pattern baldness, and that's why I shaved my head.
Right.
Okay, it's not true,
Wow.
but it sounds like a good story, right?
That is incredible. Everybody's got a great story to tell on that in the old days for sure.
Yes.
So the wedding thing kind of got your bug, right? It got you going.
Yeah. That was our bread and butter. Then '86. Actually, I went to an engineering firm. I was working for an engineering firm after New Generation, and I was a quality control guy. And I was shooting and filming and editing, and I had actually employees all the way up to '94. And
Wow.
it was killing me. It was killing me because I was working 60, 70 hours at the engineering firm and shooting, editing at night, shooting on the weekends.
Wow.
So I
Right.
told my wife, I said, Amy, I said, something's got to change. Either I'm getting rid of the company. It was Video Reflections at that time, which is actually the mother company. Video Reflections Inc. is the mother company of all this other stuff. So I said, either I'm getting rid of the engineering firm, which was I was doing very well. I was making a lot of money. They were taking care of me. And I was doing okay with the video business just because it was weekend. And that was it. I said, I'm doing one or the other. And what do you think we ought to do? She goes, honey, what do you want to do? I said, I want to just go straight video.
Because that's what you really enjoyed doing.
That's what I loved. That was my heart. That's where I was at.
Right.
The engineering was great. The people were great. I loved all the people I was with. I hated the work.
Right.
I hated the work behind the drafting table and numbers and it was great. I knew I was good at it, but I hated it.
Right.
So that's when I went and I just said, hey, I'm going to jump off. It was the hardest thing I ever did.
Taking a risk, right?
It was the hardest thing, David, I ever did in my life.
Wow.
Was saying, okay, I'm doing this. Going the next day, when Amy and I said, okay, we're done. We prayed about it. We talked about it. We said, okay, we're going to do it. Scared to death.
Wow.
I was so scared. When I went to sleep, I woke up thinking somebody was stealing and breaking into my house.
Wow.
I screamed and hollered, get out of my house. My dog's barking, my kids are screaming, everything's. And then Amy and I just stayed up the rest of the night. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. Amy and I stayed up the rest of the night. I don't know if I ever told you this story. Have I ever
You're
told
telling me now.
I'm telling you now. I've never
fascinated.
told you this story.
Right.
And so Amy and I stayed up the rest of the night and we just talked about, prayed about it, talked about it, prayed about it. I went in the next morning and said, I'm giving you a month's notice, my boss. And
Wow.
he goes, what you doing? He said, are you crazy? I said, I must be.
Pretty much.
I'm pretty much,
Right.
33, 34 years later.
Wow, here you are. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. And you never really look back, right? I mean, you're happy with the decision you made.
I am really happy. There's always been ups and downs, but
Sure.
y'all both know.
Sure.
In this industry, there's ups and downs. The difference is, who's getting back up,
Right.
who's staying,
Right.
who's going to take the risk, who's going to, and as y'all know, I always have something greater than myself that's taking care of me and my family
Absolutely, definitely.
and the people around me.
Absolutely, definitely. I wanted to ask you this, if you don't mind talking about it on air, because I work for Katy now. I've been there for 30 years, almost 30 years, and I got burned out as a paramedic back in around 2007 or 2008, and I had to take a 3-year break because I
remember that.
I would have done something bad if I wouldn't have took a break because I was getting burned out. So of course I went to work for Channel 2 for a little while, and so Jimmy Swaggart's called me up about 6 months later and offered me a better paying job, which I took. And lo and behold, you're there. Right.
Yep.
So
I was the one that recommended you.
Really?
I don't know if you knew that.
Thank you so much.
I recommended
awesome.
you,
Right.
and I knew what was going on, kind of,
Wow.
because we visited every once in a while, and I went and talked to the powers that be and said, "Hey,
Wow, I appreciate
you need to
that.
get this guy in here. He's gonna rock your world."
Well, I tell you what, that was a very good decision because I learned two things working for Channel 2 and working for Jimmy Swaggart. Working for Channel 2, I learned get out there and get your story. You got to be aggressive, and you got to be on a time crunch. 10 o'clock news, Dave, where's your story? Come on, where's it at? Where's it at? I had it a couple of times. Where's it at? It's 10:05 that your story airs in 5 minutes. Where's it at? I'm hurrying. Hit the send button. Boom, there it goes. That was fun. That was an adrenaline rush. That was a lot of fun, but it wasn't for me for a career. No way. I would have died of ulcers. So then the Swaggart job came along and everything. So what I learned at Jimmy Swaggart's was the whole, the whole Mac Final Cut Pro platform. I learned all the Photoshop and just doing all of those different aspects. The live production we did once every 2 weeks,
Right.
5 or 6 shows, and that was really cool. The multi-camera environment. Once again, it wasn't something I would want to do for 30 more years as a career,
Right.
but it set a good foundation for my learning. And so that was a lot. So I have to ask, if you don't mind, how did you wind up at Swaggart's at that point in your life? Was that just a temporary avenue you wanted to kind of go into for a while and resume your business back again?
No, I still had my business. It just had gotten light.
Okay.
And Randy, what was Randy?
McAllen.
Randy
Yes.
McAllen.
Hi, Randy.
Sorry, Randy.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes.
Randy.
He's watching, yes.
We had talked, and he said, "Look, man, I got an opening for an editing job and some shooting." I said, "Do you want to come?" And I said, "Well, I need it, but am I still gonna be able to do my other stuff?" And he said, "Yeah, no problem. We all do.
Right.
We all do."
Right.
So I went in there, and I was there about 6 months.
6 months, okay.
6 months. In my company, I had employees. I had a receptionist. I had a shooters. I had editors. I had all kinds of people at my company. And I had one person that I thought would be able to handle the day-to-day business
Right.
while I did this. I was there about 6 months, and I was losing my company.
Wow.
It was losing clients left and right because they weren't being taken care of, and I didn't know that.
And they weren't under your direct supervision.
They weren't under my direct supervision. And so when I was losing one of my biggest clients, I went to them. I said, "Don't worry about it. I got you. I'm going to take care of you." And I went to talked with Randy. I said, "Look, Randy, I'm going to be heading out in a couple of weeks." Went to talk to Jimmy. Jimmy said, "Where are you going, man?" He said, "What you going to do?" I said, "Well, this is what's going on." I told him what was
Right.
going on.
Right.
He said, "Man," and he started telling me his story, and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and that I'd really never heard. So it was really good.
Right.
So that was,
Yeah.
and it was all good, and it was still good today. So
Yeah, I had a great experience working over there myself. It was just time for me to move on, and like I said, that wasn't a career path that I would want to take. Which maybe if I would. Here's a quick little story. So my very first, love was video production. Back when I graduated from high school in 1987, I went to WKG Video College in Baton Rouge with Kenny Gill and Thibodeau and all those
on
people.
Florida Boulevard. Was that
Yes,
on Florida Boulevard?
it sure was, right.
Yeah.
So, and I was one of the few people who really stuck with the video thing through the years. But I always wanted to work, for Jimmy Swaggart's. So I actually got hired after I graduated. Got hired with Jimmy Swaggart's, but that was when everything came down. 1989 or 88 or 89. So they said, David Gyro, show up Monday morning. We'll, everybody started off in videotape duplication. That's where you started, and you work your way up. Start off in videotape duplication Monday morning. We see you here at 8 o'clock. I'm thinking over the weekend, I might have gotten hired, but I'm not going to stay for long because it's going to come crashing down. So I never showed up for work Monday.
Wow.
So
That was the first time?
Yes, the first time.
First
Right,
time?
right. So, but it was still always my dream because remember back then in the 80s, still Swaggart's was the place to be.
Oh, yeah. It was big.
I mean, they had all the nice equipment, the fancy equipment, the cool little wipes and
Yeah,
stuff.
they
and
had the
everything.
best of the best.
They did. They had the best of the best.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I hate to say it, but whether you're a Christian or not, that was the place to be.
Yes.
So
Yep.
the experience that you gained over there, they hired the best in the business, and that was kind of like my dream job. So that really didn't work out. I didn't really want to go work in the news or any other kind of thing. So I said, you know what, I'm just put the video thing on hold. And then I got a lot of medical people in my family, and somebody showed me a book, and the EMT paramedic thing looked pretty interesting. So I started my career in 1990 with Acadian. And so around 1996 is whenever I got the video bug again. I'm going, I want to start my own business around 96, kind of like
Yeah, kind of like me, about
yeah,
the same time.
exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But once again, that was something unlike you, I never really was that bold enough to go out and make a career out of it and make the jump full time. So it was always a part time thing that I had through the years, and so that was pretty cool. So lo and behold, isn't it really kind of weird how things just come back, And then so I get burnt out, and then the Jimmy Swaggart job that I always wanted. I got hired over there. And I was actually like a first aid guy. I had my little first aid kit and everything in there, so it was pretty cool. And so, so came back to Acadian about 3 years later, and I've been still here now. Probably going to be retiring from Acadian in 9 more years. but I still love doing the video production thing. So it's a lot of fun.
And you're good at it.
Right.
You're good at it.
Yeah.
You're good at it. You got
Absolutely.
this a gift.
Right, it really is, and it's so the whole podcasting thing, like so many different avenues you can take, in video production, wherever you want to go. So through the years, things have came up that hurt our business, helped our business, and everything. How did you survive the floods of 2016? What happened with that situation?
Yeah. Chuck, you want to tell your story about that?
Oh, well, I survived by wearing some rubber ducky floaties because I lost my house.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, my house went under.
Oh,
I didn't lose it, but when I went there, it was full of water.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that was that. But but it was good. It was good because I had a lot of good friends that really watched out for me. My friend in California, business partner Nick Corso. Hey Nick. Nick set up a GoFundMe. And then a lot of the Fandango faithful stepped up.
That's great.
And were very, very, very good to me. A lot of good friends stepped up, and because I lost everything. I mean, I had there was just enough water to drench my couch. Got my girls up at 4:00 in the morning when water started coming in. Wow. Got them out the house, and when they left, their sheets hit the ground. Wow. When the water came up, the water wicked up the sheet into the bed. So the beds were all full of mold and mildew, the couch, everything. I mean, literally everything. I think my kitchen table was the only thing that was left.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Did you lose any video equipment or any precious, archival stuff or videotapes, pictures?
I was very little bit. There was a few things because I was disabled at the time, things I could not get up off the floor that I lost. My office was in my house and it went under.
Right.
I was able to save some things that were on the top of the desk. But I lost some hard drives with some backups and some things.
Oh yeah, it's important stuff.
And but the good news is, everything I had was for the most part probably 90% backed up.
Excellent.
So I lost some hardware and things, but nothing that was not replaceable.
Right, that's a learning
So
lesson
it was
for sure.
It was a blessing. And in the end, I mean, I'd like to go, oh man, yeah, what was me? But in the end, I was in East Baton Rouge Parish. If you own your home, you can act as your own contractor as long as you're not building anything structural. Mm-hmm. And so instead of sitting around waiting for people to come in and give me bids, all the bids I got were $10,000, $12,000 more than what the insurance company was offering. And so the difference was a project management fee.
Right.
So I literally said, okay, well, I know people that hang sheetrock. I know people that will paint and like this. And so I literally hired everything out. Mm-hmm. Healing Place Church came in and gutted the house, mucked it all out for me.
Wow.
Jefferson Baptist came in and sprayed for all the mold. And my friend J.D. Perry made sure that got taken care of. And so from there, it was just hiring people to come in and actually wound up painting ourselves. So we saved money painting ourselves.
Right.
And we were back in our house by the end of November before Thanksgiving, when most of my neighborhood didn't get back till after January. And some people are just now getting finished up.
Right.
So so it wound up being a blessing,
right?
A big blessing.
So a lot of people say, okay, if your house catches on fire, what's the most important things to you are going to be the very first things that you go for to get out of that house, right? If you're that brave, right? So for me, it would be pictures, videotapes, archival stuff that I can never get back, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. I've got 500 videotapes at my house, and probably about another 200 in this room over here of just all of my work. To me, that's the most precious stuff that I have, And y'all too, I'm sure. Pictures and videos.
Yeah,
and
absolutely pictures. In fact, I have some stuff that was already in a Go container, that's a plastic container, because I knew if the water came in, that was going to have to go.
Yeah, right.
And so I got my kids out first, and some of the valuable memorabilia, and then went back and picked up my Rottweiler. and by the time I got back to her, the water was about 3-4 inches deep, and she's at my door going, I was hoping you'd come back, man. There's water in here. Right. This is not right.
Right.
And so got her out, and and then the rest is submerged.
Right. That's incredible. So Jeff, did it affect your business any at all, the flood? Because a lot of things were put off on hold for a little while.
Right. It did, and we did flood too. Our house, we were the last one in our neighborhood to get water.
I remember you posted some live video during the flood. I remember seeing that.
We have one of my production managers, a pilot, got his license and everything like that. Put him through school, made sure he did it right.
Right.
We do it right. Yes. So he did, showing the war zone with everybody's stuff out at the street, all their stuff.
Right.
But I tell you what, We were kind of the same way. We got out when we saw the water coming up. I had 2 hours to get as much as I could get out and get my vehicles out, my dogs, and we went to the studio. The studio didn't get flooded,
Great.
so that's where we stayed. Actually, I went back to the house the next day. The water went in and came out.
Okay.
And I only got about 6-8 inches.
Okay.
But we lost some furniture and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is, like, that was that Monday. Okay, went in that Monday, called, got on Facebook. I mean, social media guys, you know, I don't know what they did 20 years ago. I got on my Facebook accounts. I got on, texting. I got everything. And I said, look, I need some help to gut my house. Got to get the floors out and all that stuff, get the furniture out. I said, can you bring your hammer, sweat, come help us out. We had so many people from our church. We go to Struma Baptist, from my church, from my friends that came, and we were packed. We went in from 10 o'clock. It's going to be there at 10 o'clock on Tuesday. At 5 o'clock, we were mopping the concrete.
Wow.
Everything was gone.
That's incredible. That is amazing.
And
because not only you had problems and needs, other people had needs too.
Other people had needs. There was a lot of people that called me and said, I can't get to you. They'd call me and say, I just can't get to you.
They wanted to come,
they wanted to come. And it was a
Right.
blessing. It was just a blessing that came in. And then Stream, the same thing. Stream on Thursday came and
That's
fogged
incredible.
and killed all the mildew and everything. But it took us a while. We were able to go back to our house and live. Like, we weren't like Chuck where he couldn't go back. We were able to go back. Most of the people in my neighborhood couldn't. We were able
Right.
to. We lived on concrete, and my contractor came and said, Jeffrey, because we didn't have insurance. We didn't need it.
You didn't need it, right?
We didn't need it. Our neighborhood wasn't in the flood zone. So I got my contractor. I called him and I said, hey, what do we need to do? He said, give me a few months. Let me get these people back in their houses. I said, you just take your time. So December 31st, we were back in our house.
Wow.
Done.
Beautiful.
That's amazing.
So-
Yes. Just thank the Lord for that, for
Yep.
sure. Yeah, I remember, of course, Denham Springs, it was just like super high in Denham Springs. Range Avenue, all of those just completely, it was just incredible. I mean, the 500-year flood,
Yeah.
it's incredible. I just wanted to kind of find out about the floods because we had some situations coming up in New Rose. We had a subdivision that flooded. The whole subdivision flooded. Come to find out, the subdivision was built on a landfill, and so all of the houses now qualify for the special grant where they give these people $50,000 to build new houses in a new part of the town. And it just brought back a lot of memories for the flood. And I just kind of wanted to get some perspective from y'all because it affected everybody around here. Whether you were flooded or not, you knew somebody that were flooded,
Right.
and you went to help them or knew about it. So
Right.
it's interesting to hear that. So on a positive note now, I want to talk about the business spotlights.
Right on.
So tell us what the business spotlight is and what that's all about.
Oh, me.
Yeah, you go,
It's
Chuck.
my
You go,
turn.
Chuck. It's your
I was
turn.
waiting for my tally light now.
Okay.
So, yeah, well, Business Spotlight Louisiana is actually Jeffrey's brainchild, really. And he just kind of said, hey, Chuck, please come help. And it's what a great idea it is because, I have a background in television and actually was a partner in WBTR for a while with my friend J.D. Perry and some other fine folks. And the fact of the matter is, nowadays, technology, going back to technology, advertising agencies and their clients really don't much care where they capture eyeballs of attention from people. Used to be television was everything, man. Television, everything.
Yes.
But if you followed the internet at all and watch the historical trending, the trending of how the internet has grown has really mirrored television and how it started and back and when cable first came out and it became widely available to the public. If you watch how it grew, this is doing the same thing. And I hear from some experts because I try to keep my ear to the ground, which is weird because I have to clean it so much. But of what is really trending, and there's something coming out in July of this year at the Consumer Electronics Show. There's manufacturers that are going to offer televisions that are going to actually take signal from television antenna broadcast and aggregate the content onto the hard drive in the television. So, and it'll be even more efficient than streaming.
Wow.
So you'll be able to get your Facebook and all that stuff via antenna rather than from streaming through the internet.
Interesting.
So as those things grow, it doesn't matter now if a retail store or a hardware store or name the business. They don't care where they capture the eyeballs. All they care about is that people are seeing them. And so what Jeffrey's show is doing is it's actually taking advantage of that fact, because here's the thing, the Nielsen ratings, everybody has seen Nielsen, heard Nielsen this, Nielsen that, where Nielsen's rating system would be where they would capture a few people in a marketplace, they'd fill out a diary, and then Nielsen would use that as they'd take a mathematical equation, extrapolate and say, okay, if these people wrote this down, then this many people in your area must be watching this show on NBC, and this many people must be watching ABC. Whereas if you're advertising online, the Google Analytics will tell you with certainty how many people watched your show, how long they watched your show. Did they just watch the first 20 minutes and stop? Did they watch the whole 30 minutes? They'll tell you how many ads they clicked on your website. So when you go to the website and click on an ad, it'll say, okay, this many people went to the website from here to your site and clicked on this ad. And it's just a very robust program. And so what Jeffrey's basically said, look, we want to promote business. We're all about promoting business. And so since advertisers really don't matter where they get customers from, because the digital content customers' money is just as green as the television audience's money, we're going to use technology to drive traffic to our website, which will become sort of the Angie's List or the yellow pages of business in Baton Rouge, where people can go there and say, okay, at the Business Spotlight Louisiana website, bslla.com. There's a lot of litters in there.
Right.
BusinessSpotlightLouisiana.com. We'll be able to go there and say, okay, who's a good advertising agency? Click. Who's a good retail store, toy store? Click. And just find everything there, because that's where we're going to be driving traffic.
Is this the state of Louisiana or just Baton Rouge?
That's what I was going to say. It's not just Baton Rouge. It's we're going to be doing the state of Louisiana, but we're encompassing New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Lafayette.
The big hubs.
The big hubs now.
Right.
And then we're going to slowly, hopefully, maybe fastly, expand from there.
Right.
But we want to have a good foundation and get people to know that we're caring about their business, and we want to help them. It isn't something that like Chuck was saying, Nielsen ratings. Okay, they can say this is what's going to happen. We're going to have proof in the pudding.
Right. I always wondered how accurate the Nielsen ratings were, because nobody ever asked me anything. Right.
You know what? They tried to ask me one time and said, "What business are you?" And I said, "I'm an advertiser." They said, "Well, we can't take your information." Yeah, I'm telling you, they did.
Come on.
Absolutely did. But the nice thing about it is, and I actually posted an article today on the LinkedIn page and on the Facebook page, which is Business Spotlight Louisiana on Facebook.
Yeah, go to that.
Is an article about how doing blended advertising is actually the way to go in 2019, where not only are we driving traffic digitally, but the show is also the segments. There's basically segments are going to be put together in a television show that are going to be aired on cable from New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette. So you get the power of digital combined with the power of television, all at a rate that you just really won't believe, to promote business and using that connectivity with certainty, not going, well, I wonder how many people watched the show today. I wonder how many people saw my ad today, where you will be able to pull it up and say, okay, here's the Google Analytics for your show. Here's the Google Analytics for this website. See how many people went to your ad, and how long they watched your video, and all those things.
That's incredible.
And
the accuracy.
And Google, thanks Google, because it is their analytics program that is so robust. We can tell what city people came from, what platform they're using, who is their provider. Was it Cox? Was it eTel? Where do they come from?
Right.
So that we can really help a business dial in the best value for where they're trying to do their advertising.
Right, male or female.
Yeah, absolutely.
What platform? iPad, Android. I mean,
yeah. So even certain demographics.
Right.
Are they what age range are they in, based on where they live? I mean, it's really, really the most honest way to take a look at how well is your advertising really working for you.
Right. And what I like about this, as opposed to other more what I call intrusive or invasive forms of advertising, like Facebook and YouTube stuff, where they force stuff down your throat. All you got to do is mention something or look at something, and next thing you know, everything's popping up on your feed. Just leave me alone.
Right.
So
this is going to be more. We're going to be more pushing people to the website, and like the networks are just going to be a tool, just like Facebook is a tool, like LinkedIn is a tool. We're going to be pushing everybody to Business Spotlight Louisiana. It's just going to be like Chuck said, the Angie List or the Yellow Pages, where if you need to go look for something, you just go here.
That's really
Okay,
cool.
I saw it over here on TV. Oh, I saw it over here on Facebook. Oh, I saw it. You need to go here to get businesses, and we're also doing things. And I don't want to step on Chuck's toes too much about putting stuff out there. We want to
Pig
keep
feet. I got pig feet.
Okay, we're also gonna look at the companies that are coming on.
Right.
We're not going to just take any Joe Blow, whoever down the street, Mr. Plumber that you don't know who. We're gonna check them out. We're gonna do some, go to BBB, see if there's anything that's negative on
Sure.
it. We're gonna do that so that we keep the quality of the businesses that are going to be with us
Right.
at excellence, like we're going to keep everything else.
Right. When we shop on Amazon, we always go to the 5-star ratings. Who's got the best
Yes.
ratings, and those who we gravitate
Right.
to.
That's
Well,
what
and-
we're going to do.
And then we'll be doing the due diligence. In fact, BJ Militello, hey Don,
Better
give me a
Business
call
Bureau.
because we're going to do it. We're
Yes.
going to do the
Yeah.
Better Business Bureau ourselves,
Right.
because we don't want to tie the name of the show, or certainly Jeffrey's longstanding company, to Fly By Night Insurance Company, right?
Right.
So everybody's going to go through some sort of at least through a Better Business Bureau check
Yes.
to make sure that there's the variety. They've been in business a while. They're not going to take your money like so many contractors did in the flood, talking about the flood. So many
Right.
contractors took money
Oh,
and ran
man.
off, right?
Yes.
Obviously we can't be responsible for the way
Right.
everybody acts, but at least we'll do our due diligence to
Yes.
let people know, hey, look, we've looked at them. Business Bureau, Better Business Bureau said they were okay. They have A+ rating. So,
Yes.
but that way the folks going to the site have some sense of comfort that at least someone's looked at these people and said, okay,
Right.
are they for real? Have they done this work before?
Right. Yeah,
So-
not wasting their time.
Right.
Whatever they get on there is going to be reputable. I want to talk a little bit about the whole because we talk about different platforms, because you're talking about getting stuff from Facebook, Cablevision, and all the different areas,
Right.
and kind of bringing them in.
Sure.
The fate of Cablevision in general, we've been talking about it for years and years, how Cablevision is kind of on the downswing.
Yes.
Because we have all the other platforms.
It's called cutting the cord.
Right.
That's the proper trend. And probably 15% of cable households will in 2019 dump cable
Right.
and keep it. If they keep it, it'll only be for internet.
That's it. Yep. So they're forced to go to other services, like you said, internet. And
Mhm.
they're kind of bringing the landline phones back a lot of times too, for some reason. I don't know why, or I guess internet telephone, like we have over here. We have the IP internet
Right.
phone,
Right.
so which is pretty interesting. So
VoIP.
VoIP, right,
Voice over,
VoIP.
voice over.
and that's one of the next things I want to kind of get hooked up over here, so we can have multiple lines for our. We only have like one line for our phone calls right now. And that's another thing too. If anybody's watching, you can give us a call at 225-713-5099. 225-713-5099. If anybody's listening, you want to call in and join the conversation. I forgot to tell people about that. So back in the late 80s, early 90s, it was so fun. Cablevision was kind of in its height, and the public access. Used to love watching public access television and all the locally produced shows. I just love local, low budget shows. They're just fun to watch. What I used to love to watch was Morton Downey Jr. after the news back.
Right?
He was like,
He was
I
crazy.
loved him, man. He was amazing. Yes,
Crazy.
that was.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, and he was syndicated too, which is really cool. I don't know if he started off public access, but he went nationwide, and that was his whole shtick. He had people on his show that he hated, so he could just get in their face and just, you pallid puking piece of crap, and people love that kind of stuff, and so I was able to take control of our local public access channel over here in Point Capee for about 6 years till. With Fidelity Cable, and finally they're telling me that Dave, they called me up about a year ago. We're shutting the channel down. It's not making any money. We need that channel for bandwidth, for other purposes and everything. I'm going, you've got to be joking. I put so much hard work into this thing.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
But I got to realize, it's just part of the game. It's part of what's going on. Public access is going by the wayside. And
But why was public access so credible in the first place? Because television was king at some point, and so having a place on cable TV gave you instant credibility, right? Well, now that's what the internet is doing. Having a great following on YouTube, having a great following on Facebook. The other day, Jeffrey asked me to, part of what I do for him is put out social media, and I dropped 4,300 invitations onto the website
Yeah.
because I have the same kind of following you have. I have over
Right.
3,000 on Instagram.
incredible. Wow,
And so that's what we do is we build up eyeballs and then transfer them to the people that we're trying to bring onto the show to help them have those same eyeballs.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the only
Yes.
difference. That's the Facebook now. To me, Facebook and digital media is just as viable as public access cable ever was.
Right.
Because it's that time.
And the production quality, of course, is better too nowadays because everybody can afford a nice camera.
Yeah, everybody's got a camera right here,
Yes.
and some of these are 4K cameras that are very nicely done.
Yes.
Plug for the iPhone.
Right.
Plug for the iPhone.
Did you see the short film they made out of the backup camera on a Subaru?
I heard about it. Did not see it.
No excuse, man. Come on.
I know. I'm so busted. I'll go sit in the corner for a little while.
All right. I guess your creativity, you can have anything you want. You can make a video out of anything. Kim was telling us that they had a broken tripod. Remember, we made it work. We put a sandbag on our broken tripod, and we made it work some kind of way.
Yep.
I think she said a bag of rice. Did she say a bag of rice?
Bag of rice, right? Yeah.
On a tripod.
You do what you do, man. You do what you can do.
Make it do what it do, baby.
Duct tape, buddy. Duct tape.
Duct
We
tape
love
and
duct
twist.
tape.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sandbags too.
Yeah,
is
sandbags,
right.
duct
Saw
tape.
some sandbags on the way in.
That's mine outside.
Some little beach out there. Yeah.
That's mine. They got
We'll go
wet,
to
so
beach.
they were in the sun drying. They got wet.
Yeah. Sand, it doesn't do very good outside.
Right. Those are Amazon sandbags. Right.
Oh, the Amazon.
Amazon.
Oh, that makes a difference.
Don't
That's
use
what
them.
it was.
They're leaking like crazy. The stitches are coming apart. So
Oh,
put the sand in a Ziploc bag, then put it in there. That's what you got to
okay.
do. So let's talk, Jeff, a
He
little bit.
didn't look at the reviews on those sandbags.
No, I
That's what it
didn't.
was. He didn't look at the
He didn't look at the
reviews. He
reviews.
just,
I look at
this is cheap. I'm
One
gonna buy
star.
it.
One
looked at
star.
the
Yeah, one
price.
star. Okay.
Yep, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Y'all are sitting on Amazon chairs, by the way.
Hey, these are comfortable. These are comfortable.
It's holding me up.
That's right.
Exactly. That's another scary thing. We're kind of getting off topic a little bit, but with all the brick and mortar places kind of going by the wayside, because Amazon is just like putting everybody out of business. Remember,
Sears, dude. Sears going out. I can't even
know.
believe that.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sears.
Okay, let's go back way in the day in the 80s. Shea Mall, that was the place to be. Bar Shea Mall.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then Cortana Mall.
Yeah. Same
Yes.
thing.
And so Cortana Mall's going down by the wayside. Now we got
yeah.
Mall Louisiana. I'm predicting. How long do you think Mall Louisiana is going to be in operation before it goes down? Really?
Yeah, don't look at me. I'm not one of those doom
But
and
it's
gloom
inevitable.
guys.
Sooner or later, I'm thinking.
Man, look, I remember growing up, going to the mall, and Homa had a mall.
in Homa.
Yeah, Homa,
In
Homa
Homa,
still
man.
does have a
Wait,
mall,
it still
too.
does. Yeah, if you
okay.
call it that.
Well, yeah.
And we had initially like 35 stores.
Yeah.
So huge.
Oh, it was
Huge.
awesome.
Yeah, service
But,
merchandise.
yeah, right. But I mean, eventually, you saw things like music stores and pet stores and all these fantastical things, food court and modern malls still have food courts, but you see a different type of store in there, and you certainly see a different type of store that was in Cortana in the heyday than it's in there right now.
Yeah.
And Bon Marché is not even a mall anymore. It's a
Tech
tech
center.
park.
Yeah.
Right. That's
So,
true.
I
Right.
mean, eventually, I think, digital is disrupting everything. It's disrupting everything. I mean, when you see a day when Sears, Roebuck is going out of business.
I know. An
Oh
icon.
my gosh!
In
I can't-
our lifetime,
Toys
for
R
sure.
Us.
Yeah.
Toys R Us. Oh my gosh!
Right.
Who knew you could get toys over the internet? I mean, Big Bird. I mean, can you imagine the shipping on that, dude?
Right.
But
Right.
yet you can.
That's true.
And Amazon is just killing everybody, especially with Prime. I mean,
Yes, I'm guilty,
Me
yes.
too. I'm
Yeah, me
guilty.
too.
Prime,
Yep.
because 2-day shipping free. Really?
Come on,
Yeah.
to my house.
As
Yeah.
opposed to us driving to Baton Rouge. I'm not driving to Baton Rouge.
Right.
Well, exactly right. And now they have a distribution center in Baton Rouge with trucks and
Yes.
hiring local people. I mean,
Yeah,
how do you
Amazon
beat that?
vans all over the place, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And they're hiring at a pretty good rate too. I know some people that are working for Amazon delivering packages.
Yeah, they're making $15, $18 an hour or something.
Yes, they are.
I mean, that's a great rate.
Right.
That's a great rate. I mean, you can't make that for serving fast food.
No, you cannot. Barely make that as a paramedic.
But videographer, man, we'd love to make that kind of money.
Exactly.
Man, it'd be high
Exactly.
tide, man.
But it's really sad. The sad part about it is like I'll be having grandkids. I'm sure one day my kids would hurry up with that. But
Tim.
it's like right. Our Tom's in the Army, but when he gets out, I'm sure he'll be cranking some out. But the sad part about it is we're not going to be able to have the experiences that we had when we were younger. Like going to the mall was just like we were fun, and just looking around at all the shops and everything. But I don't think that's going to happen in the next 20, 30 years. I don't know.
Shoot, I don't think it's going to happen in the next 5 years, brother. I got to tell you.
Right.
Look, I'm as I look at trends, I don't think the major cable networks are going to last another 5 years.
I agree.
I think they're on their way out, and that's why they're scrambling. I mean, CBS now has its all access channel, and they're putting really big shows on that all access. I mean, have you seen the new Star Trek Discovery?
No, I have not.
They're spending money on that thing, man. I mean, visual effects crazy,
Wow,
and
for
it's
small
all
screen.
It's small screens. It's CBS all access.
Wow.
It's not even. Yeah.
Right.
You can't even get it over the air. You gotta subscribe.
Well, our cable system here in New Rose has switched ownerships about 6 times since probably the late 80s. Now that Fidelity is going out of business later on this year, they're bought out by Cable One. So
Wow.
but it's just like they keep just recycling, the same old stuff.
Better sameness, they call it.
Right.
Better sameness.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
good. I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
Right. So
Heard it first right here.
I heard it right here.
that is it. So
Learn something new.
times are changing. So the thing is, adapt to change because nothing stays the same forever, and you just gotta go with the flow. I guess I don't know.
I mean,
hard. That-
filmmakers.
Yeah,
Filmmakers.
yeah.
Look at it.
Oh, yeah. Look at this.
I mean, when's the last time anyone shot on celluloid?
right.
And you had
Right.
HD, it was like mind blowing, and then you had 2K,
Wow.
Yes.
4K, what?
Right.
And now you can get 4K television for real.
Right.
And so you shoot in
4K
6K,
telephone.
8K. Yeah, it's just it's amazing.
Right.
It's you either adapt or die.
Right.
Adapt or go the way of the dinosaur.
And that's what I was going to share is that that was the hardest thing for me, David, is that I had to learn that I needed to change. And you know me, I always wanted to be on the cutting edge. I've
Right.
always been like that my whole
Yes, you
career.
have. Yes, you have.
The digital thing, it knocked me, and it was tough. And so I had to say, okay, who moved my cheese? If anybody knows that, I had to learn that. I had to learn, wait a minute, I've got to adapt. I got to say, this is a behavior that I've got to change. And I had to learn that late in my age because I got 5 grandkids.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
very blessed. And
He's old.
and I'm old. I'm very blessed and old. Okay, I'm old.
You very well.
Yeah. So that's the thing for me is I said, okay, either I'm getting out, which a lot of us, if you look at from the 80s, there's not many of
yeah.
us left.
No, there isn't.
So I just said, what do we have to do? Me and my wife, they just, we even turned in, I think it's been 3 years now. I made her CEO. Made it as we are a woman-owned business,
Okay.
certified national woman-owned business.
Awesome. Great.
And because we needed to do that to get some diversification to where we could get to the Exxons and get to the Blue Crosses and be able to do their videos.
Wow,
But we had to
smart
change. It took us almost 2 years to get that because
Right.
it's not an easy thing. But we did it. And we've got probably 20 different certifications now. But we had to do that. I didn't have to do that 10 years ago.
Right.
20 years ago. I didn't have
Sure.
to do that. I went on my name and references. Now, with the way technology is, either you change or you go the way of the dodo bird.
Right. And you're talking earlier about having your drone operations segment of your because you can't just go out. You got to get your Part 107. You got to be legal.
If you want to do this right, there's so
Right.
many out there that don't. I'm just not going to do that. And I
Right.
said that from the beginning. I'm not going to do anything that's not legal in video.
Yes. Right.
And my motto from years is we do everything legal and moral in video.
Right.
That's
right.
just what
Right.
we do, and that's the way we've always been. I will stop if I ever get pulled over the edge.
Right.
I'm not, and I won't. I'm
Absolutely.
not. I'll
I
stop.
want to ask you something. We're running up against the clock.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
right about an hour, but we got a few more minutes left. So we can talk. I wanted to ask you something because I remember picking up a patient in the doctor's office one day, and I saw you doing a legal deposition. You were in a waiting room with your stuff waiting. How's the legal deposition thing going now, generally speaking?
I still have my certification. I'm still CLV national certified as a legal video specialist. I'm just not doing it. I really don't do it. I just keep the certification just for emergencies.
Right. How's the money in legal
It was
video?
very well. I at one part of my company, I had 1,000 attorneys, and I had 15 court reporting firms that I did all their video. My company did.
Yeah.
And then it got to just crazy. My event side was taken off. It's just how things go. So I sold that division. I
Oh,
sold
okay.
that to a company in New Orleans. Sold that division, that part of my company. And
Hmm.
then 5 years later, I wanted to do it again. Kept my certification. So I
Right.
just freelanced.
Right.
So court reporting, because they were still calling me. And I said, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm done. I'm done. They said, look, just do this one.
Right.
They pulled me back in.
Right.
So they pulled me back in. So yeah, so I kind of I still have that, and actually I get 2 or 3 calls a week, and I just say, oh, well, I'm doing an interview with David, so I got I can't do it,
Right.
So
That's interesting, yeah.
But yeah, that's where that's at.
So the moral of that story is there's so much business to go around. It's like photographers we were talking about earlier. It's, if you want to be a photographer, first of all, get good at what you do, but there's plenty of business for everybody. There's so much business out there. Video-wise, too, there's plenty of business out there for everybody.
You have to market, and that's the thing. You have to just stay out there and stay on the cutting edge and stay, because there's always somebody else wanting to get your business. There's always somebody out there. The difference is I want to help as many people as I can. I want to encourage, just like you, same thing, just like Chuck. I want to be able to help those that are around me, and try to make their life better, because as many people as I can help across the table, my life is better. I can
Yes.
sleep at night very well.
Right. Definitely, that's great. So let's talk about your website and your business and kind of what you do. We'll go over everything. I see you do have legal videos, a little tab up there, So here's your website right here. Now, Tim, if you could pull that full screen for everybody to see. So talk about what you do on your website here, what you're specializing in now, what you can easily do when somebody calls you.
Oh my! Oh, that's a whole nother.
But you have a lot of people working for you too that do all these things.
I have a production manager, and we have contract camera people when we need it. We have, like I said, Amy does my web stuff. She's a coder, and then I pretty much handle the overseeing of all the things that we do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We do a lot of corporate. We just finished a big job for Huntsman. It's an international company, Huntsman Industry. Yeah. And we just finished. Yeah, there's Amy. There's Amy. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, look at that.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Who took that
I
picture?
definitely overmarried. I definitely overmarried
married
for
up,
sure.
huh?
I married up big time.
Who took that picture?
That was us. Yeah, I wonder who took that. Where was that? Yeah, then a little bit of background. If y'all want to go, it's a VRS Media group. You put in VRS Media, we're the top 10. We're in the top 10, probably mostly
awesome.
10. And then there's my production manager. He is awesome. He's been in the industry almost 30 years. Television. Wow. He is phenomenal.
That is awesome.
A 3D animator. He's unbelievable.
Talented guy.
Very
that
talented.
Awesome,
very talented.
Yes.
So we do drone. We do. We have a lot of tools in our tool belt.
Right.
Like I said, we do anything that's legal and moral in video.
Right.
And we're going to give you the best. I believe, my humble opinion, we're from the time we get the phone call or the email to the time that you get your video. I don't know how many testimonials I've had saying you guys were awesome. And I'm not just tooting my own horn. I really,
Sure.
Because I pride myself on everybody that's in my companies.
Yes.
That you present yourself well, because you're not just representing me, you're representing you.
Yes.
And that's the way I work. Nobody works for me, they work with me.
Awesome. I like that too.
Yeah.
So when you get a great compliment about your company, it reflects not only you, but your whole team of people.
Yes.
And so there's nothing wrong with that. So I always say if somebody wants to give you a little tip or something, take it. Hey, take it.
Yeah.
They're appreciating you, and
That's
you
right.
take the compliment, take the tip.
That's right.
Take it because it's well
I've never
deserved.
turned down any money.
That's it. No.
If they're going to give it to me, okay, I'll
Thank
take
you.
it here, put it in my
Thank you.
pocket. And,
Thank you.
very much.
Yes, that is awesome. So so check out Jeff's website, vrsmediagroup.com, and you can look at all the services that he offers. He comes highly recommended, and one of the best in the business in Baton Rouge for sure. I'm going to ask. We're going to wrap this thing up shortly. I want to talk about one more little topic: the Me Too video series.
Men Too.
No, I'm sorry, Me Too. We don't want to go that direction. Men Too.
Yes.
So are y'all doing anything together with that?
No, we're not.
You're not doing it together.
Well,
okay.
that's not entirely true
no,
because
we did
we did some drone work for us.
That's what I was asking.
And
I saw the drone.
Yeah, got some really good looking stuff.
Was it like establishing shot you got or something?
Yeah, it was actually a dolly shot. We did an establishing shot. We also did a dolly shot where the drone was traveling backwards with one of our lead talent walking out of a session. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us.
Sorry about that.
Tell us a little bit about that series. We'll wrap everything up with that, but I want to kind of go over that. What's going on with that series?
Well, we're in post of the original right now, the pilot episode, and we have one more pickup to do, and drop that boy in, and we'll be well on our way.
Great.
And at the end of the day, I think the producers have opted to try to shop it as a project to be picked up by one of the smaller cable networks. And one of the big ones would be fine too. But we had Theodis Crane as our lead actor, who was in he was in Walking Dead. He was in Underground, which was about the Underground Railroad, the series that shot in Baton Rouge. So for WGN, he's a notable actor.
That's great.
And a bunch of great, talented local guys too.
Right. And so the name of the series is
Men Too.
#Men Too. What Tyler Roberts did a little segment on that too?
Tyler sure did. Yeah,
awesome.
he played the kind of craziest of all the guys, and it's for those of you who may not know, although everybody should know because I'm just a big mouth about it. It's a show about 6 guys if you include the therapist, who are going through the repercussions of past sexual abuse when they were, for the most part, were kids, and how that's affected them and everything around them. Alyssa Milano originally had coined the hashtag Men Too before Me Too, when Corey Haim committed suicide.
Oh yeah, right.
And because of all the sexual abuse that he had been through. And so she actually coined that hashtag on Twitter from his funeral. And so most people don't know the hashtag #MenToo actually was around before hashtag #MeToo. Sorry, ladies, don't hate me. It's just history.
Right.
Don't hate me. So
Wow.
yeah, so that's the thing. So but just had a meeting with the other producers, and the consensus was that we're gonna put it out as a shopping tool to get it to some of the bigger places to see if we can, and whoever we'd love to be able to hold on to the cast locally because they all did a really good job for us.
Right.
It's not about that. It's just about trying to find the best place, the best platform to launch such an important show.
Absolutely. Now my hat's off to you for doing that because that's a taboo subject that not many people want to touch.
Oh well, we experienced that as when we were doing crowdfunding. I mean, some people were calling, "Go Chuck, I'd like to support you, but I really can't get behind that." It's like, well, but why? I mean, we're not glorifying it. We're not even showing instances of abuse. We're just showing the aftermath. So you should be able to get on board with that. But it was a tough deal.
Right.
So,
Yes.
that was really brought about by a need. Kay Lind, Kay,
Yes.
one of her clients, because she's a counselor, was saying, somebody needs to bring this to light because there's so much going on about Me Too. It happens to men too, and so that's kind of what that was born out of. And so her and Deanna Charette, they got together and talked to me, and that's how that came around. That's
amazing. I'll tell you what, that's an honorable project to be in for sure. That's incredible. I was talking to Johnny Rock a while back. Of course, he's a major advocate, and I want to get him on the show. And I said, any way that I can get you on the show, I want you to be here in person with me. And he said, yes, I'll do it. I'm going like, yes.
Yeah, we're doing his autobiography.
Really?
Yes.
Did I know that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to have to have you come back with Johnny Rock side by side.
Oh, well, I'll be by Johnny Rock 10 times out of 10. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But Johnny approached us a few months back, and actually Kay is working with him.
Did not know that.
Taking his story that he's putting on audio, and she's reinterpreting that into transcribing it rather. And so we're gonna put that up for him.
Did not know that.
Yeah. Hi, Johnny, if you're watching.
Yeah, Johnny, how's it going? Love your new car.
Yeah, sick man, Mustang. Got a brand new Mustang. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jeffrey's a Mustang guy.
Yeah, I got me a nice 5.0.
Come on,
GP.
really?
Oh,
Awesome.
dude, sick.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
awesome.
Well, that's great. So, Timmy tells we got about 2 minutes left, so let's wrap everything up. Any final thoughts from any of you guys? Want to talk about anything?
I think we about covered pretty much everything.
Yeah. Business Spotlight, Louisiana.
Business Spotlight, Louisiana.
It's different
Look
and
for
it's
it.
cool.
And it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming gangbusters.
Cannot wait. Maybe y'all can kind of filter yourself in the New Roads area.
Oh yeah, we'd love to.
We're in our viewing
definitely.
area, dude.
Yeah, you are in our viewing area.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, we'll definitely we'll put some salespeople out this way to see,
Sure.
and hit.
I'll help out any way that I can.
I know.
Yeah, we need to get you on the show.
Here we go, business. Oh yeah, we'd love to get you on. The
That's
show.
us.
Oh,
There we
okay,
go.
okay.
Look at
There we
Ashton.
go.
Hey, Ashton.
Yeah.
Ashton,
hey,
hope you're watching,
Ashton,
darling.
If you're watching.
Awesome. Full
Yeah,
screen
one
that, Tim.
One of our hosts,
Yes, indeed.
hostess,
Yeah.
Ashton Lay.
With the
Probably seen her.
mostest.
Yeah, probably seen her on a few things like NCIS New Orleans. And,
Awesome.
yeah, and then we have Jordan Trosclair. Hey, Jordan, if you're watching this, man, shout out to you, buddy. He's our host. He's a big real estate with Berkshire Hathaway in Baton Rouge, and you've probably seen his billboards. He's one of our hosts also. Yeah, there he is, right there. Look at that. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one of his links there on Berkshire Hathaway. So yeah, that's us.
That's great. Didn't your daughter used to host like a wedding show?
Yeah, we did the wedding. We didn't even talk about that. The wedding market for 5 years.
Yeah, I
Y'all
remember
probably
that.
heard of that.
Was that on Cox? Where
It was
it
on
at?
Cox. It was on Cox 4 and Pelican and
Pelicano.
Yeah.
So it was there. We did that for 5 years, and that was kind of it was part of what we did.
Right. I enjoyed watching those little
Yeah.
episodes. They were really good.
Yeah, we had a lot of good people on there.
And you shot that in your studio?
No, we shot that usually when we were doing stuff for us. We shot it in the studio, but we would go on location.
Right.
And
Like those
set up
packages.
there packages. Yeah, we'd go
Right.
set up packages in their locations and interview them there. And Mindy was 15. I remember
Wow.
Mindy being 15. Hey Mindy, hey Mindy.
How old is she now?
I ain't gonna tell you. That's two of my grandkids.
There you go. We can
So
do the
it's
math.
two of my
Older than-
grandkids. So
older
I'll let
than
you know
15.
that.
Right.
Older than 15.
Yeah, well, a lot
okay,
older than 15.
I'm protecting you, man.
Right.
Okay.
We do the math. That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, well, guys, thank y'all for coming out. Really enjoyed it. It was a great show. Learned so much. Like I said, it was just incredible. We went back in time. We relived a lot of fun times, bad times, and y'all doing a great job out there with your work. And I always have to ask y'all, will y'all come back on the show later on?
Oh,
I was just here yesterday. You want me
I
to
know,
again?
I know.
Man,
no.
I want you tomorrow. So you're here tomorrow? Okay, wait a minute.
That's it.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to eat my Wheaties,
definitely.
man.
I know
I'd
y'all
love
will.
to. I'd love to come back. Let us get our business spotlights slamming, and come give you an update on
Yes.
what's going on there.
Get you on the show.
and get you on our show.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I love that.
That we'd
yeah.
love to get you here. We'd love to get
Right.
you on and kind of talk about this. You know what you're
Right.
doing here, and you're who David is.
Sure,
you know?
absolutely. So, being president of tourism, which is my second term, and also director of our film commission here in Point Power. So we try to get our local films. If you don't, we don't want you to film your whole film over here, but at least maybe a scene or two, maybe that'd be pretty cool.
That'd be good.
Still brings money into our economy, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
Absolutely. That's what
and
it's
which
about.
we have 5 productions that are looking at shooting in Point already this year. So we're happy about that. So,
Super.
yes,
Yeah. It's
absolutely.
beautiful out here.
It really
beautiful.
is. Yes. All right, well, good deal. So thank y'all guys. And before we sign off, once again, I got to give Point Reporter a shout. PointCoupee is a good source to find out news on the net about Point Coupee, listing links to articles about Point Coupee from the area. Media is their specialty, but you'll find original articles too. Dial them up on the web at PointCoupeeReporter.com. And you can also find the Dave K Show on the front page also. And Timmy's pulling up right now. But anyway.
Love those guys.
Yes. So we'll see you guys later, and I hope everybody has a great day. This is Dave K Show signing off. We'll see you later.